If you are under 30 right now, then let me give you a warning that most people never receive until their future is already gone. Your life will not be shaped by luck, talent, or even income. It will be shaped by the saving habits you build today, while you still believe you have time. Because the harsh reality is this: every strong financial life begins in your 20s, and every financial disaster does too. I have watched brilliant people, hard-working people, people with huge potential destroy their future quietly through 7 tiny saving mistakes that felt harmless in the moment. Once you understand these 7 habits, you will never look at money the same way again. Habit number 1: pay yourself first before everyone else takes their share. Most people live their entire 20s thinking their income is theirs. It is not. The moment your paycheck arrives, everyone else gets paid before you do. The landlord, the government, the subscriptions you forgot you had, the takeaways you ordered because you were exhausted, and the companies that designed psychological traps to drain your wallet one quick purchase at a time. By the time you realize what happened, the month is already over. When I was younger and earning next to nothing, I made a rule that seemed ridiculous at the time. I paid myself first, before bills, before spending, before temptations. Even if I could only afford a tiny amount, that money went straight into savings the moment I got paid. What shocked me was how quickly my brain adapted. I stopped treating saving as something I did if anything was left. I treated it as a non-negotiable expense. Why does this habit matter so much before 30? Because it teaches your brain that your future is a priority, not an afterthought. If you cannot control 20 pounds, you will never control 2,000 pounds. And if you do not learn this habit early, you will spend your adult life trying to protect a financial foundation that never existed. The habit is simple. Pay yourself first, or you will spend your entire life paying everyone else forever. Habit number 2: automate your savings, so discipline is no longer optional. Let me tell you something that shocks most people in their 20s. Your willpower will lose every time. No matter how motivated you feel today, no matter how determined you think you are, no matter how many saving goals you write in your notes app, your emotions will always overpower your intentions when life gets stressful. That is why automation is not a convenience. It is a weapon. When I was younger, I realized something embarrassing but honest. I was not failing because I was irresponsible. I was failing because I was human. When money sat in my checking account, it whispered to me. Every notification felt like an invitation. Every small treat felt harmless. And every purchase, no matter how tiny, pushed my goals further away without me noticing. The day everything changed for me was the day I removed myself from the decision entirely. I set up automatic transfers so a portion of my income left my account the moment I got paid. Not 1 week later, not when I remembered, instantly. No emotion, no hesitation, no debate, just extraction. Do you know what automation really is? It is the version of you who wants a better life protecting you from the version of you who gets tempted. It is long-term you saving short-term you from regret. And here is the real magic. Once saving becomes automatic, your brain treats whatever money remains as your actual income. You adjust, you adapt, you survive, you thrive. And without even realizing it, you begin building the kind of financial backbone most people never have. Automation does not just help you save, it guarantees you save, even on the days you would not choose to. Habit number 3: build a 3-tier emergency fund. Before life teaches you why you need one, before you turn 30, there is one truth you must accept without negotiation. Life does not warn you before it hits you. Emergencies do not schedule themselves politely on your calendar. They appear suddenly, unapologetically, and usually at the worst possible moment. That is why an emergency fund is not a smart idea. It is oxygen. And building the right one before 30 gives your future the breathing room most people never experience. When I was in my 20s, I watched countless friends live right on the financial edge. They were earning money, they were spending money, they were enjoying life, but they were always one unexpected bill away from panic. A flat tire could wipe out their savings. A medical issue could push them into debt. A small job disruption could send them spiraling into fear. Not because they were irresponsible, but because they never prepared for the moments that do not care about your plans. That is when I created what I now call the three-tier emergency system. It is simple, powerful, and almost unfairly effective. Tier 1, micro-emergencies, 0 to 30 days. This tier covers the small surprises that would normally throw people into credit card debt. A car repair, a vet bill, a sudden fee. You should have at least enough money here to stop your month from collapsing when something unpredictable happens. This is the buffer that gives your mind peace and keeps stress from running your life. Tier 2, macro emergencies, 3 to 6 months. This tier protects you from the bigger storms, job loss, income interruption, or a sudden unexpected responsibility that forces you to pause your normal routine. When you build this tier before 30, you eliminate the single greatest fear adults carry, the fear of losing their income. People behave desperately when they feel insecure. People make strong, intelligent choices when they feel protected. This tier gives you the power to think clearly. Tier 3, opportunity emergencies. Nobody talks about this tier, but it is one of the greatest wealth accelerators of my life. Opportunity emergencies are the moments when something valuable appears suddenly. An investment, a partnership, a deal, a discount, a chance to scale something you built, and you have money ready to seize it. Most people miss life-changing opportunities not because they lack ambition, but because they lack liquidity. They are too busy reacting to emergencies to take advantage of opportunities. This tier changes that. When you build all three tiers, your financial life transforms. You stop living in fear. You stop making decisions from a place of panic. You begin seeing the world differently because every choice becomes strategic instead of desperate. That is the real purpose of an emergency fund. It does not exist to help you survive. It exists to help you think. And here is the part I need you to hear clearly. You build this fund slowly, quietly, one transfer at a time. No pressure, no drama, no perfection, just consistency. Because consistency is the one habit that separates people who constantly rebuild their lives from people who grow steadily, confidently, and powerfully over time. Habit number 4, build a zero-waste budget. So your money stops leaking in the dark. Most people in their 20s are not losing money because of big, dramatic mistakes. They are losing money through tiny financial leaks they never even notice. Subscription creep, convenience spending, silent fees, impulse add-ons, monthly renewals, and forgotten charges running quietly in the background. And the dangerous part? These leaks feel too small to worry about, until you add them all up and realize they have eaten 10 years of savings without you seeing it happen. This is why one of the most powerful saving habits you must build before 30 is learning how to create a zero-waste budget, a system that eliminates silent money leaks before they drain your future. Let me show you why this habit matters so much. Back when I was still figuring out my own finances, I knew a young guy who earned a solid salary, much better than most people his age. But every month, without fail, he ended up with nothing left. No savings, no investments, no financial progress, just financial exhaustion. One day I asked him, "Where is your money going?" He shrugged and said, "No idea. I don't buy anything big." And he was right. He did not. But when we sat down and reviewed his bank statements, He nearly fell off his chair. There it was. £12.99 for 3 different streaming platforms, £5.99 for a forgotten app trial, £10 here and there on food delivery fees, £40 on random impulse purchases, monthly subscriptions he did not remember signing up for, bank fees for dipping below certain balances, small purchases he made because it's only a few pounds. Individually, nothing looked dangerous. But the total? Over £350 per month, disappearing in pure waste. Now, here is the painful truth most people never realize. Small leaks drain more wealth than big mistakes, because small leaks never trigger alarm bells. Nobody panics over £2.99. Nobody questions £8.49. Nobody stresses over a subscription that renews quietly at midnight. But those tiny charges compound faster than interest, and faster than your income ever will. And here is the part that shocked me. When we patched his money leaks, he suddenly had more savings each month than someone who earned significantly more than him. Not because he worked harder, not because he sacrificed more, but because he stopped letting his money escape without permission. That is the power of habit number 4. Now let me show you how to build your own zero-waste budget before you hit 30, because this one habit alone can change the entire trajectory of your financial future. Step 1. Perform a financial leak audit. Every 90 days, sit down with your bank statements and examine every charge. Ask yourself, do I still use this? Do I still need this? Is this worth the cost? Would I notice if this disappeared tomorrow? If the answer is no, cut it. If the answer is maybe, pause it. If the answer is yes, keep it with intention. This single audit will reveal more wasted money than you think. Step 2. Replace passive spending with active spending. Passive spending is the spending you do without noticing. Active spending is money you choose deliberately. If a purchase does not improve your life, protect your future, or move you forward, eliminate it. This rewires your brain from "I can afford it" to "I choose it intentionally." Step 3. Cap your convenience. Spending food delivery, quick snacks, impulse treats, they quietly drain wealth. Set a fixed monthly allowance for convenience spending and automate everything else into savings first. That way, you enjoy the conveniences without letting them undermine your financial foundation. Step 4. Separate your life money from your future money. This psychological shift is massive. Life money equals what you spend today. Future money equals what builds your tomorrow. When your future money is protected automatically, your life money becomes easier to manage because you know every wasted pound is a pound stolen from your future self. Step 5. Install a 48-hour delay rule for non-essential purchases. This one habit alone has saved people thousands. If you want something unnecessary, wait 48 hours. If you still want it, buy it deliberately. If you forget about it, you just saved yourself from a regret disguised as a desire. Now here is the truth wealthy people learn early in life. Saving is not just about earning more. Saving is about wasting less. And if you build this zero-waste budget before 30, here is what happens. Your income instantly feels larger. Your savings accelerate. Your spending becomes intentional. Your future begins to compound. Your financial stress disappears. Your freedom expands. And here is the best part. You do not need to earn a fortune to get wealthy. You just need to stop letting silent leaks drain the fortune you already have. Habit number 5, automate your wealth. So your future grows. Even when you are not thinking about it, if there is one saving habit that separates people who struggle financially from people who build real, unshakable wealth, it is this one. Because the truth is simple. Human discipline is unreliable, but automated systems never miss. Most people do not fail to save because they lack intelligence. They fail because life gets busy, emotions get involved, and willpower collapses when temptation walks in at the wrong moment. That is why building the habit of automatic saving and investing before you turn 30 is absolutely essential. It protects your financial future from your future self, the one who will occasionally feel tired, stressed, impulsive, or overwhelmed. Automation ensures your wealth grows, even when your self-control does not. Let me show you why this habit is so powerful. The story that made me automate. My entire financial life, many years ago, I met a young man who earned very good money. He was sharp, disciplined, focused, and determined to get ahead. Every month he told himself the same thing: I will save whatever is left at the end of the month. He repeated that for almost 2 years. Do you know how much he saved? Nothing. Not £1, because every month something came up. A birthday dinner, a weekend trip, a new gadget, a small treat, a sale that was too good to miss, a subscription he forgot to cancel. And at the end of every month, he looked at his account and said, I will do better next month. But he never did. Then one day, he saw a colleague who earned less than he did, but had more savings, more investments, and more stability. He was confused. He was embarrassed. He felt like he had been sprinting while someone else had been walking. But somehow that person reached the finish line first. After talking to him, he discovered the secret. The colleague automated everything. Money left his account before he had a chance to spend it. He did not save what remained. He saved first. He spent what remained. That single difference created a completely different life trajectory. The first young man worked hard and ended with nothing. The second young man worked the same and ended with a growing future. That is the power of habit number 5. Here is how wealthy people automate their financial growth. And yes, almost all wealthy people do this. Step 1. Pay yourself before you pay anyone else. The moment your income arrives, a percentage must automatically move into savings, investments, long-term goals. This happens without you lifting a finger. Money that leaves automatically is money you will never accidentally waste. Step 2. Separate your accounts into financial roles. You create 3 accounts: a spending account for daily life, a savings account, short-term future, an investment account, long-term wealth. Each payday, automated transfers divide your money instantly, without negotiation. No decisions, no hesitation, no excuses. Step 3. Automate micro-investing. Even small, consistent amounts can grow into something life-changing over 10 years. Wealth is not built by big, dramatic decisions. It is built by small, boring, automated ones that compound quietly in the background. A person who invests £10 a day automatically becomes wealthier than someone who invests £200 randomly whenever they remember. Automation beats motivation every single time. Step 4. Automate debt elimination before it grows. Most people underestimate the psychological weight of debt. It drains focus. It drains energy. It drains confidence. So you set automatic payments that exceed the minimum. Even a small increase accelerates freedom and reduces interest dramatically. Debt collapses faster when you attack it automatically rather than emotionally. Step 5. Automate your emergency fund so you never fall backward. Wealth is not only about rising, it is about protecting yourself from falling. Every automated deposit into your emergency fund builds a safety net that your future self will thank you for. Emergencies become inconveniences rather than disasters. Why habit number 5 must be built before you turn 30? Because once your life becomes more complex, career, relationships, rent, responsibilities, Your brain will not always have the bandwidth for perfect financial decisions. 20-year-olds believe they will always be motivated. 30-year-olds realize life does not wait for their motivation. When your saving habits are automated early, your income builds a foundation without effort. Your investments grow even during chaotic months. Your future becomes stable even when life feels uncertain. You avoid the "I will start next year" trap. You become one of the few people whose money works harder than they do. And here is the truth. Nobody tells young adults, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Automation is the system that guarantees your goals become reality. Build it before you turn 30, and your future will look completely different from the people who rely on willpower alone. Habit number 6. Track your money like your future depends on it, because it does. If there is one saving habit that transforms people from "I have no idea where my money goes" to "I control every pound that enters and leaves my life," it is this one. And strangely, it is the habit most people avoid, because tracking your money is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It does not look impressive on social media, but it creates the kind of financial clarity that changes everything. You cannot save consistently if you do not understand your money flow. You cannot invest confidently if you do not know what you can afford. You cannot build stability if your finances are a mystery even to you. Most people are not bad with money. They are blind to it. Habit number 6 removes the blindfold. Let me show you why this habit is non-negotiable before you hit 30. The story of the man who was broke. Without realizing it, years ago, I met a young man who was convinced he did not earn enough to save. He worked hard, paid his bills, lived sensibly, and at the end of every month his account was empty. He believed the problem was his income. One day, I asked him to track every dollar he spent for 30 days. He looked at me like I had asked him to run a marathon in the rain, but he agreed. 30 days later, he came back with a notebook that looked like a confession diary. He discovered 147 pounds on food delivery, 92 pounds on subscriptions he did not even remember signing up for, 68 pounds on impulse snacks, 55 pounds on coffee, 110 pounds on weekend entertainment, 180 pounds on small treats that he bought because he felt stressed, and the worst one, 300 pounds in random, untrackable purchases. He stared at those numbers in silence. Then he whispered the sentence that every person eventually says when they track their spending for the first time. "I had no idea I was bleeding money like this." This is why most people feel broke, not because they lack income, but because they lack awareness. The moment he saw the truth, his entire financial life changed. Within 3 months, he saved more money than he had saved in the previous 3 years. Why? Because clarity creates control, and control creates progress. Why tracking your money is the most misunderstood saving habit. People think tracking is restrictive. It is the opposite. Tracking frees you, because when you know exactly where every dollar goes, you stop guessing, you stop stressing, you stop overspending unconsciously, you stop lying to yourself about your habits, you stop making emotional purchases that ruin your budget. Tracking does not restrict your lifestyle, it reveals your lifestyle. And once you see it, you can choose the version of your life that actually supports your future, not the version that drains it. Here is how wealthy people track money differently. By the time you turn 30, you want this system to feel natural, like brushing your teeth. Step 1. Review your spending. Weekly, not monthly. Monthly reviews hide your mistakes. Weekly reviews reveal them before they grow teeth. A week is short enough to correct problems quickly and long enough to show patterns. Step 2. Categorize every pound. Wealthy people divide their spending into 3 categories: essentials, bills, food, transport, investments, anything that grows your future, lifestyle, everything else. This structure gives you freedom without chaos. Step 3. Identify your silent drains. Silent drains are the small, harmless expenses that quietly sabotage your savings. They include subscription renewals, delivery apps, impulse purchases, upgrades, bank fees, convenience spending, loyalty rewards that trick you into spending more. It is never the 100-pound mistake that ruins people. It is the 10-pound mistake repeated 50 times. Step 4. Track your emotional spending patterns. This is the secret nobody teaches. Your worst financial decisions do not happen when you are careless. They happen when you are emotional. You spend more when you are tired, stressed, bored, lonely, frustrated, overwhelmed, trying to escape pressure. When you track your spending honestly, you start noticing emotional triggers. That awareness alone can save you thousands over time. Step 5. Use tracking to create a savings-first lifestyle. Once you see where your money leaks, you can redirect those leaks into your future. Imagine turning 58 pounds of delivery food, 45 pounds of emotional spending, 20 pounds of subscriptions, 15 pounds of convenience treats into a savings streak that compounds for decades. Tracking transforms accidental spending into intentional saving. Why habit number 6 must begin before you turn 30, because once you enter your 30s, your financial responsibilities multiply. Rent or mortgage, higher bills, career changes, family expenses, emergencies, taxes, bigger life decisions. If you are financially blind at 30, your 40s will be financially painful. But if you gain clarity in your 20s, your 30s become your decade of growth. Saving becomes easier. Investing becomes automatic. Opportunities become visible, and your confidence becomes unshakable. Tracking is not just a habit, it is a superpower. Before 30, it is optional. After 30, it becomes survival. Habit number 7, practice future-based spending instead of present-based spending. If there is one saving habit that separates people who build real wealth before 30 from those who spend the next 20 years trying to catch up, it is the habit of making every major financial decision based on your future self, not your present impulses. I call this future-based spending, and it is the quiet discipline that determines whether your money becomes a tool for growth or a trap that holds you back. Most people make spending decisions in the heat of the moment. They buy things because they feel stressed, tired, bored, or pressured. They upgrade because someone else upgraded. They spend to feel good for a few minutes, even if the cost follows them for years. It is not because they are irresponsible, it is because the human brain is wired to prioritize immediate comfort over long-term reward. But that instinct is exactly why so many people reach 30 with nothing to show for a decade of work. Future-based spending is the habit of pausing before every purchase and asking one simple question: will this matter to the future version of me? It sounds like a small shift, but it completely rewires your financial life. When you start making decisions for your future self, impulsive spending loses its power. Emotional purchases lose their shine. Lifestyle upgrades lose their urgency. You begin to realize that most of the things you want today are things you will not even remember a year from now. I learned this habit the hard way. In my early 20s, before I had any real success, I had a tendency to spend money whenever I felt overwhelmed. A long week? I would treat myself. A stressful day? I would buy something to feel better. A sense of falling behind? I would purchase something that made me feel like I was catching up. None of it was extreme, and that was the dangerous part. It all looked harmless. But harmless spending becomes harmful when it repeats often enough. One day, an older business owner I respected said something that stuck with me for life. He said, "Mark, every pound you spend today is a pound your future self cannot use tomorrow." It was such a simple sentence, but it hit me like a brick, because I realized I had been acting as if the future version of myself had unlimited time, unlimited energy, and unlimited opportunities. But he did not. He only had what I prepared for him. Every decision I made today was either building his life or stealing from it. From that moment on, I changed the way I evaluated money. Before every unnecessary purchase, I imagined the version of me 10 years in the future. The version who wanted freedom, who wanted options, who wanted a strong financial base, who wanted security for his family, who wanted the ability to take risks without fear. And I asked myself whether the thing I wanted right now was worth slowing down the life he was trying to build. Most of the time, the answer was no, and that single habit saved me more money than any budgeting trick ever could. Future-based spending does not mean you become cheap or deprived. It means you become intentional. It means you stop trading long-term progress for short-term relief. It means you stop trying to look successful today at the cost of actually becoming successful tomorrow. It means you only spend heavily on things that genuinely enhance your future, not on things that briefly distract you from the present. Here is what happens when you build this habit before 30. You start to develop a sense of long-term awareness that most people never develop until much later in life. You begin to see money not as something to throw away for comfort, but as a tool to shape your future. You start taking pride in saving rather than spending. You realize that true satisfaction comes from progress, not purchases. And that shift creates a financial foundation that becomes stronger every year. I once spoke to a man in his 40s who told me his biggest regret was not thinking about the future sooner. He said he spent his 20s and early 30s buying things to impress people who did not matter, solving stress with shopping, and rewarding himself with purchases that never improved his life. He told me that if he could go back in time, he would change one thing. He would stop spending money to please his present self and start spending money to protect his future self. You have the advantage he never had. You are hearing this now, before 30, while you still have the most powerful financial asset anyone can possess: time. And future-based spending multiplies the value of that time. Every smart decision you make now compounds into something far greater later. Every unnecessary purchase you avoid becomes a step closer to the financial freedom you want. The truth is simple. Your future self is counting on you. He cannot build wealth without you. He cannot create stability without you. He cannot enjoy freedom without the habits you build today. Every purchase either pushes you toward him or pulls you away from him. Future-based spending ensures that every financial choice you make moves you forward, not backward. This habit turns saving into a mindset, not a chore. It transforms discipline into identity, not effort. And it ensures that when you look back in 5 or 10 years, you will thank your younger self, not resent him. Now that we have uncovered the saving habits you must build before 30, let me leave you with something far more important than a list. It is something I wish someone had told me when I was young and confused and trying to figure out what kind of life I wanted to build. It is a truth that shaped every financial decision I ever made, and it is the reason I never stopped improving myself, even when life felt overwhelming or unfair. Most people do not end up financially stable because they are born disciplined. They do not end up wealthy because they stumbled into some magical opportunity. They do not build freedom because they were lucky or gifted or special. People who build strong futures simply learn one thing early. Every small financial habit you build before 30 becomes the architecture of your entire life later. The hard part is that these habits do not feel dramatic when you build them. They do not create fireworks. They do not impress anyone. Nobody celebrates you for choosing not to upgrade your car. Nobody congratulates you for investing a small amount consistently while everyone else spends theirs. Nobody praises you for choosing responsibility instead of excuses. Nobody claps when you say no to a night out so you can protect your savings or your sleep. But here is what I learned. The habits that no one sees are the ones that create the life everyone notices later. You do not build financial freedom with grand gestures. You build it with quiet discipline. You build it with tiny decisions repeated consistently. You build it with the courage to take ownership of your future even when the people around you are busy trying to impress strangers. You build it by respecting the person you are becoming more than the person you are performing for today. The biggest mistake people make in their 20s is believing they have unlimited time. They think they can fix everything later. They think the future will somehow sort itself out. They believe they will develop discipline eventually. They assume they will invest later, save later, plan later, grow later. And then one day they wake up at 35, carrying a lifestyle they cannot afford and habits they cannot break, and they realize something painful. The future they expected to arrive never came because the person they needed to become was never built. But you are different because you are hearing this now. You have the chance to build the life most people do not realize they want until it is too late. You have the chance to create momentum that compounds for the next 10, 20, even 30 years. You have the chance to build skills, discipline, savings, investments, and structure that your future self will look back on with genuine gratitude. Your future will not be built by the big decisions. It will be built by the small ones you repeat every single day. Every time you save rather than spend, you are building your future. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you are building your future. Every time you learn before you earn, invest before you indulge, plan before you panic, and prioritize your future self. Instead of your present impulses, you are building your future. And here is the truth that matters most. The habits you build before 30 do not just shape your finances, they shape your identity. They turn you into the kind of person who does not rely on luck. They turn you into the kind of person who can survive uncertainty. They turn you into the kind of person who can create opportunities instead of waiting for them. They turn you into the kind of person who becomes wealthy quietly, long before anyone notices. If you want the next step, the real next step, the one that teaches you exactly how to structure your money every time you get paid, so that saving becomes automatic and your wealth grows without stress, I have left the perfect guide right up there. But do not click it yet. Make sure you subscribe if you want to build the habits that create financial security, personal confidence, and a future you can be genuinely proud of. All right, I will see you over there.